This is a Rogue Media Network production.
Welcome back to the show. I've got Doreen Ravenscroft here with me. She is founder and president of Cultural Arts of Waco, and you've got a very important event coming up. You've got an amazing artist coming to Waco to the STEAM Center.
Yes, we do. Last year, I wrote a grant for the Cultural District Organization, which means you can only have the event within the specific areas of the Waco Cultural District. And fortunately, the STEAM Center, the new STEAM Center, is in that district. So I called Robin McDurham and said I would love to write this grant for Noah Haim. Noah Haim is from the Netherlands. So this is an international artist exchange. And she's actually an architect, which sounds, well, why are we bringing in an architect? But she doesn't build buildings. She sculpts architecturally in cardboard. And so we are going to be able to get all these cutout shapes, which arrive flat, which actually at the moment are in Cincinnati going through customs.
Okay.
And then we'll be able to fold them and clip them together to make into a small geometric shape. And then these geometric shapes can be clipped again together to build sculptures that can be anything from a couple of feet high up to 16 feet plus high.
Wow.
And so it's like using the arts and using geometry and math
and
to construction. And it seemed to be absolutely wonderful if we could use our Science Fest, but bring it to the STEAM Center and partner with them and bring in an artist for a whole week.
Of international acclaim. And this is going to be February 21st through the 28th.
Yes. It opens the 21st, and then on the Sunday, the STEAM Center's closed. And then all the way through the week, Monday through Saturday, Noah will be at the STEAM Center, and she will be creating with volunteers. But we will also be having, with the help of Lindsay Helton and Robin McDurham, they'll be booking schools and other groups to come and work and construct with Noah.
Oh, that is remarkable. So how will this programming be structured? Is she going to be doing lectures or mostly hands-on?
Most of the time it's hands-on.
Okay.
Obviously there'll be some discussions, but most of the time it's the creative process of putting everything together and her leading groups that come in, whether they're under 5 or whether they're my age, it makes no difference.
Right, and that's what's beautiful about the STEAM Center. It's for everybody.
It's for everybody. And if folks haven't had a chance yet to go and see it, it's really a wonderful place for us to have in Waco to, inspire and ignite an interest in science.
And this is free.
It is free, yes.
Now, tell me more about Noah. I mean, you say she's from the Netherlands.
She's from the Netherlands. She's from Amsterdam. And I actually, discovered her because she was actually working, had come over to the United States to work with a group in San Antonio. And they were working on doing light sculptures with the cardboard. And I thought they were absolutely fascinating. They could, and that maybe this would be something that we could have in Waco. So I literally sent her an email, and then the next minute we were both on Zoom calls. her learning about Waco, us learning more about her process and how we could create a grant. So I told her that if she would be willing, we would love to have her, but we wouldn't be able to sign a contract until we knew we got the grant.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And
So that
so,
includes her transportation,
yes,
I
I
would
think
assume, and yeah.
everything.
Mhm.
And so what happened was, in the middle of June, I submitted the grant, and then at the end of August, we heard unofficially that we had over 50% of the grant from Texas Commission on the Arts.
Oh, wonderful.
And so that meant that we adjusted her budget. So we don't have an assistant coming in with her, but we do have Noah Haim, and we'll have her for the whole of the project. And I think people are going to be totally enamored with her because she loves working with everybody, and she loves watching what people create from what she has already created as the base.
Have you had a chance to see her in person or talk to
No,
her?
not yet. We've only done Zoom meetings,
yeah.
and Robin and Lindsay have also been involved in the Zoom meetings. So it's going to be exciting. She'll be arriving in Waco on the 19th of February, and then we'll and by that time, all the supplies should have arrived, and that will be exciting, getting them organized for the public to come and create with them. So, it's just a wonderful opportunity to have an international arts exchange.
Oh,
And we've grown our festival because our Science Fest was only 1 to 2 days, and now it's a whole week.
it's going to be a whole week long.
Yeah.
Let's talk about collective paper aesthetics.
So
You called it a happy accident.
Collective Paper Aesthetics is actually the name of her company.
Okay.
And so I know I've sent you some pictures because it's so hard to describe the shapes that she creates. We actually chose a shape that had already been created because our time commitment was too small for her to do a brand new design, put it through the research process, and get a die cut, which is the die cut is what cuts the cardboard. That takes so long to develop that we are using one that she has already used. She knows it will work, and everything has been created in Holland. So that she can manage all the color combinations that we're doing and check that they are to her standard. And, she's not worrying that the manufacturer is having issues with a die cut or something like that. So that's the exciting part, that we've never shipped a whole exhibition from the other side.
A big old project.
A big old project.
And you'll be able to, and to see it come to life. I mean, over the course of the week that she's here. Again, this is February 21st through the 28th.
Yes.
And you can meet her and learn from her. And
Absolutely.
It's just incredible.
I mean, I think the fact that she's going to be so hands-on and so available to anyone that wants to come and participate, and especially if you're a school, please call Lindsay at the center, at the Bledsoe Miller Center, because we want to make sure that the schools can book and have a really productive time. They will, if the schools themselves will be creating perhaps a large modular shape, we're going to keep them all, but we're going to label what each school has made, so that we can leave them as an exhibit for a couple of weeks for people to come in and see after Noah's gone. And then we will deliver each school's design back to their school that they can hang in their classroom.
Oh, that is incredible.
Or have in their classroom somewhere.
Oh, Doreen, this is really an exciting thing. I mean, the whole STEAM Center is unreal.
Oh, it's unreal.
Yeah. It really
I could
is
have stayed there all afternoon playing.
I know. But and I realized that when I was talking to Robin and to Lindsay and that it's just, you can't even imagine how a world that it opens up on so many different levels, in so many different disciplines. I mean, it's
Yes.
just really an
Yeah.
incredible thing.
I think so too. I loved actually being in the immersion room,
Uh-huh.
and the demonstration was with the Very Hungry Caterpillar, which is my favorite children's book.
Yeah.
And it, Robin was saying, well, if you touch this, then it will change. And
Right,
I'm going, I can just imagine the little ones running up to the wall and touching the spot. And then it totally changes again, as to what the caterpillar is eating.
Yeah.
And with every bite he takes, there's a crunch. It was such fun. It was like, okay, you can be a little kid again yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole of the Very Hungry Caterpillar is around the whole of the room.
Yeah.
And so, but obviously there's much more things for teenagers and adults as well, but it was so lovely to be engaged in that immersive room with something that was for under fives, because that's so stimulating to them all to get involved and maybe get up and not be shy, and go touch the wall and make something happen.
Learning so many other skills along the way.
Yeah,
But as
yeah.
you say, it is for people literally of all ages.
It is,
And
absolutely.
and so I'm just hats off to you for getting this grant, and
Well,
I'm excited.
I am so pleased, and I'm really thankful to all the jurors because who read our grant at TCA. Some could understand it, and some couldn't
I was
get
going to
it.
say it's very different.
And because it is so very different
Mhm.
in her company is called Collective Paper Aesthetics, and you don't get anything from that except the word paper, and you're thinking of something thin,
Right.
and it's not. It's cardboard, and it's amazing geometric shapes, and some of them you can even create into stools to sit on.
Really.
Yeah, I know.
Furniture.
I don't think we have that design, but that's so I'm hoping that the community will come, and they will come and meet Noah, and also discover what other amazing things are happening at the STEAM Center.
Mhm. Okay, so again, this is the 21st,
The 21st
which
of
is a
February.
Saturday, and
Yes.
then it's closed on Sunday, and then the whole rest of the week through Saturday, the hours will be.
I believe the STEAM Center opens at 10,
Mm-hmm.
and I think most evenings it's open until 8 o'clock.
Oh.
So it's
I would assume she's not going to be there all those hours.
I don't think so. We realized that they said a lot of our children come in the evening, but the afternoon, early afternoon, there's like a lull. So I said, also have a break
Sure.
and then come back, because
Mhm.
I really want to see her engaged with as many young people as possible.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, a wonderful opportunity to
Yes,
speak with an
it
international
is.
artist
Yes.
from the Netherlands.
Yes.
It's awesome.
I hope you will come too.
I'm already thinking, how can I get over with a photographer and maybe get something done with her?
We would
get an
love
interview
you
with
to
her.
do that.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's work on that.
Yes, I would love you to do that, because I think if you could have a photographer and make a video, and we've got all this stuff on the floor,
Uh-huh.
that will and you have to sit on the floor, and you have to make it, and
Yeah.
make a mess, and
Yeah,
and
really
then
immerse yourself
immerse yourself into it.
into it.
I
Yeah.
I think that would be exciting to
Yeah.
come and do.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, let's work on that.
Okay,
Meanwhile, thank you, Doreen,
my
for
pleasure.
everything you do. Stay with us. There's more of the show ahead.
It's football season, and we can create your outdoor tailgating spaces that is actually a part of your home. Bifold doors that tie in the inside and the outside, and you can gain anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000 square feet living space, all while taking in the big game, poolside. Call us at Gather & Co. Kitchen and Bath, where we can create your unique tailgating space.
Serving Central Texas since 1889, TFNB Your Bank for Life takes pride in being more than a bank. TFNB, we remain committed to these principles. If you value them too, come join us. TFNB, your bank for life.
Ready for a better kind of primary care?
At Patient First Direct Primary Care, you get unlimited office visits with same-day or next-day availability.
And instead of rushed appointments, we take the time to actually listen.
There are no insurance hassles, just clear, simple care.
You can reach us by phone or text because access shouldn't be complicated. Our practice has expanded to include Medicare-age patients as part of our direct primary care model.
It's a fresh alternative to the traditional insurance or government-driven systems, care that finally puts you first.
For more information, go to patientfirstdirect.com.
If your AC is working overtime and your house still feels hot, maybe it's your old windows that are to blame. Worn seals, warped frames, and outdated glass can let hot air in and cool air out. Beat the Texas heat. Call Universal Windows Direct of Central Texas today for a cooler home and lower energy bill. 0% financing is available with your good credit.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
If I had somebody that was looking for a car, I would definitely recommend Allen Samuels. The trust that I have, the care that they take, they genuinely want to take care of you. They really ask for your feedback when you go to the support department to make sure they're taking care of you in every way possible. So I really appreciate that they listen to your feedback.
Like Allen Samuels always said, Waco has a lot to offer, and so do we at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today, we're going to talk about something that affects all of us, and we're talking about our electric grid. Our guest is Bill Flores, longtime friend of mine, U.S. Representative for Texas for 5 terms.
That's right.
In the Congress, and currently the chair of the board of ERCOT, which is the Electric Reliability Council of Texas. So welcome to the show.
Glad
now,
to be
you've been on the show before, but it was many years ago.
That was a long time ago, yeah.
Long time ago. So it's been too long to have you back. So you decided not to run for Congress again. You always said you weren't going to do more than 6 terms.
That's correct.
You were going to term limit yourself. But you decided, okay, I'm done after 5 terms. So do you miss it?
Everybody asked me that.
I know, I get asked the same thing about TV
I was
news.
in Washington a few weeks ago, and all my friends that were up there, they're still there. And a lot of them are in the administration now. Said, well, do you miss it? I said, I miss some of you, but I don't miss this. I really don't. You know, but when you're wandering around and you're in the halls of power and you're walking down the mall, you do miss some of that, the pomp and circumstance. But I don't miss it enough to go back.
Well, you know, and you had a big district, and so you had to keep running, every couple of years, and it's just a lot. I mean, that's a full-time job running for office.
It is.
And plus actually doing the work, so it's a lot.
Yeah, most people can divide their lives into 2 segments. So their personal and family life and their professional life. When you're in Congress, you really have 4 segments. So you've got your professional life, which is serving in Congress. You've got your family life and your personal life. Then you have your campaign life, because you're always running. You said you're on that 2-year treadmill. And you've got your fundraising life.
Oh, gosh.
And if you foul up very much, if you don't do all of those well and keep them balanced, you don't get reelected.
It's not going to happen again.
Exactly.
Yeah, the people will decide they'll pull the plug, but not so with you. So, as you look back on those many years that you did serve in Congress, just your reflections.
Oh, well, I'm glad I did it. I mean, and if the situation were the same, we turn the clock back, let's say 17 years now, when I first thought about running, and the opportunity presented itself, I would do it again. Okay. I'm just saying, if we were back in that same environment, I would run again.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did. I felt like we got some things done for the people of Central Texas and for the Brazos Valley. And I feel like I made a difference somebody else to serve.
Well, and so in retirement, shall we say,
I'm not retired.
Yeah, no, I know. Let's just start with the basics. For people who hear the term ERCOT, they may not fully understand it. What is it, and what is its role in making sure the lights stay
Okay.
on?
Well, the Electric Reliability Council, the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, or ERCOT as it's commonly called, was established to be an independent system operator, so an ISO. The first one in the country, actually. People don't realize that, but in the 70s, ERCOT was designated to be the ISO for the region of the state that's covered by the grid. Uh, um, and what it does is it works with all the stakeholders in the industry. So the generators, the retailers, the transmission companies, distribution companies, everybody. There's over 1,000 stakeholders that are part of this process of getting electrons from point A to your switch in your home. And what it does is it serves as an air traffic controller, if you will, to make sure that the electrons get on the bus at some solar farm in West Texas and they get down here to the Alico building in Waco so that we can have this conversation. It doesn't own any assets. It doesn't own the generation or the transmission or the distribution systems. It's just an air traffic controller. So it provides a projection of how much power is going to be needed on sort of a minute by minute basis, and then it makes sure that it knows where to get that power at the lowest possible cost to the consumer.
Mm. As chair of the board, what are your responsibilities?
Well, after Winter Storm Uri, by the way, I think
We called it Ice Mageddon.
yeah, I think it's important to clarify that I was brought on the board after Uri.
Okay.
Okay.
We're not going to blame you for
Yeah,
that.
so you can't,
Oh, man,
can't
it
blame
was
me.
it was bad.
It was bad. It was
bad.
an incredible collapse
Yeah.
of our energy system in this state. Not only the electric grid, but also the natural gas system as well. So it's just a total collapse, and the ability of the state respond to it. But what happened after that? The legislature looked at what went wrong and had some pretty good hearings about several things, like the interconnectedness of the electricity system and the natural gas system that fuels a lot of the power that's needed, particularly in the wintertime. And it came up, passed several laws, but one of the most important one was Senate Bill 2. And in Senate Bill 2, they restructured the governance of the PUC, the Public Utility Commission of Texas, the governance of ERCOT, and so decided that ERCOT in particular need to have a board that was all Texans. We had non-Texans on the board before. The other thing about the board before is that all the individual groups of stakeholders, like if you're an industrial consumer, like a steel mill or
Yeah,
a data center or
need a
whatever,
lot of power. Yeah.
you would have a group and it would pick somebody to be on the board. And so you had everybody defending their parochial interest on the board.
Gotcha.
So, and the way the board has been restructured since then is more like a public company. So you have 12 directors, but 8 of those directors are independent. And we represent the 27 million Texans. So we look at those as sort of the ultimate stakeholders, if you will, of the system, the consumers. And the 8 of us, that's our job to represent them. There's also a 9th voting member. Of the 12 members, only 9 can vote. And one of those is the OPUC, the Office of Public Utility Council. The head of OPUC is on the board, and he can vote as well. He or she can vote.
So the ERCOT board selects the CEO? Is
That's
that
correct.
Sets
That's
overall
correct.
goals and guides the organization's
That's correct.
direction. So how does the board balance the long-term planning with immediate concerns?
Well, that's particularly now, that's been a big challenge. I want to go back to the ERCOT board, though, for just a second to answer the rest of the question you asked originally, and that is, what are my priorities? Reliability remains the number one
Oh, sure.
priority. So
Yeah.
if you think about it, reliability is important. Resilience is important. The ability to withstand an external shock like a winter storm or a summer heat wave, something like that. And then the price, if you will. So we want to find a way to deliver the most reliable, resilient energy at the lowest possible cost.
Mm-hmm. Um, so let's talk about the long-term planning, though.
Well, what ERCOT every few months will do a long-term forecast, short-term and long-term forecast, and it will look at what it thinks total demand is going to be, not only from the industrial part of the state, but also from retailers and consumers and so forth. And then it looks at what the capacity is. What is the ability to provide the power to that? And it publishes this report. It's totally transparent. Publishes this report so that people that are interested in investing in building new power plants in the state, whether it be renewables or natural gas or whatever, nuclear, hopefully it'll be nuclear someday.
Yeah.
And so it provides signals so that other people can look at the market and say, yeah, we want to invest in Texas. So what we do is we publish this and then hope that the investing community will respond to that. The other thing that we do is there's two parts of this. If you think about it, okay, so you've made a forecast of what the demand is going to be, what you think the demand is going to be. And by the way, in Texas, we've had huge increases in demand recently in total power usage. And it looks
What
like,
are you attributing that to?
primarily due to, well, Texas is a place to come to open a business.
People are
And
moving
then
here.
particularly when it comes to data centers, we've got a
yes.
lot of data center
Very
growth.
controversial.
And so we'll talk about that.
Okay.
I think it's kind of a fun subject. But also we're having, we got people moving to Texas. So you've got consumer growth and consumer demand, and then you've got industrial companies that come to Texas. So you've got growth in industrial and commercial. And that is projected to be almost double by 2031. So 5 years from now, we're looking at almost doubling of peak usage from where we were in 2024, the 2023, the last peak we had. Anyway, so you've analyzed demand, you've analyzed what you think the capacity additions are going to be based on people that have already made investment decisions, and you figure you got to connect the two. So one of the things you have to do is you got to build a transmission system. So we look at regional transmission planning process, an RTP process, to figure out what we need. And last year, ERCOT endorsed about $34 billion in total transmission improvements in the state. We're looking at building a whole new transmission system based on the 765,000 volt system, which is over double what our current maximum capacity is.
And that's paid for by the state?
It'll be paid for by the consumers.
Oh, the consumers.
Yeah, it's paid for by the users.
Oh, okay. Lunch.
There's no free lunch. No,
To
if you
quote
look,
my dad, yeah.
And so basically it's like building a new interstate highway system, but it's for electrons, for electricity.
Sure.
And it's going to be, and it gives us a lot more flexibility in terms of being able to get power from the load centers to the generators. It's going to be a massive investment in the state. It's going to be I think a great investment.
Yeah, but it has to happen.
Yeah, it has to happen.
It has to happen.
We can stick with current technology if we want to, with current voltage systems, but it takes about 3 times as much right of way to carry the same amount of power as it does when you go to this new ultra high voltage system.
So let's go to the data processing center. So storage, I don't even understand what it is.
Okay.
I just know it's a big deal.
Well, if you look at, there's been an explosion growth in artificial intelligence usage, and artificial intelligence, when you do a Google search, you're consuming a certain amount of watts of power when you do that, because there's a data center out there somewhere that is going and doing that searching for you. When you do an AI search using, let's say, Google Gemini, okay, still a Google product, or ChatGPT or Perplexity, or whatever you use, it uses about 10 times that amount of power. And it's because it's doing a more in-depth search. It's having to process what it finds and distill it and give you back an answer for the query that you posted for it to look at. So you're using 10 times the power. And I don't have the stats off the top of my head, but I'm trying to think a typical Google search, if Gemini search or artificial intelligence search is enough to, if you did that all day long, it's enough to power a home. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll get the exact statistics
Yes.
and send that to you.
So it's a huge demand on
Huge
what
demand.
we've got now.
Everybody wants to come to Texas for data centers
Right.
because Texas has been leaning in terms of trying to find ways to build out transmission capacity. Also, we've got a regulatory structure that is right-sized to balance investment and protection of consumers and people. So everybody wants to come to Texas. We've got the land as well.
And so this takes a lot of property, square footage for.
Not really. I mean, they're actually pretty dense. I mean,
So what's the fight? What is it why they not want it?
there are a bunch of misconceptions
in my backyard.
Yeah,
I don't want
there are a
this.
bunch of misconceptions about it. People think they're noisy. Well, I mean, there's a lot of
Oh.
noise when you're constructing them. Yes.
Well, yeah.
But other than that, it's just a building with a bunch of racks of processors in them, and it's quiet. Okay. People think it's going to drive up electricity costs, and I dispute that. I think if we manage it correctly, some states have not. I mean, if you look at the PJM ISO that serves the Northeast,
What does that mean?
PJM is Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and
Okay.
Maryland, I believe.
Okay.
And then there's 13 states in PJM, and it is the largest ISO in the country. The next one is MISO, the Mid-Continent Independent System Operator, but Texas is number 3, and all in just one state.
Really?
Third largest operator in the country, the third largest ISO in terms of peak demand. So anyway, if you look at some states and ISOs have not done a good job of getting their arms around this. In Texas, we look at it another way, particularly with the way the legislature helped out in the last legislative session in 2025 with Senate Bill 6. To say, okay, we want you to come to Texas, but you're going to have to be the term I've been using in my speeches for 4 years is a good grid citizen. In other words, come onto the grid, but there are going to be times when we want you to curtail, and you're going to curtail. So if you think about it, they're going to come in, a data center is going to come in, and they're going to spend tens of millions of dollars to build a data center like the one at Stargate in Abilene, which I toured last June. It's just amazing. And they're going to spend tens of billions of dollars, and they're going to pay for all this electrical infrastructure to come in and support it. And they're going to pay for the electricity, the people that they're going to sign contracts with companies to add more generation. In cases like Stargate, they're going to add their own generation as well to power their own facilities. And also to be able to provide power back in the grid when it's needed. So if you think about it, you're adding a lot more demand, but at the same time, that company has paid for all the capacity to be able to level out the cost and actually to provide more access to power for consumers at a fair cost. So I look at, for instance, I remember, like I said, over the last 4 years, I've been talking about all these industry users coming to Texas need to be good grid citizens. When Google made its big announcement back in December that they're going to invest $40 billion in 2 new data centers in Texas, the CEO and the governor were sitting up on the table right in front of me, and they were saying, we're going to be good grid citizens, and for every kilowatt we use, we're going to produce 110%.
Really?
So that we can push back into the grid if they need to.
Okay.
So if you think about that, they're bringing the power, and so consumers aren't having to pay for that. You know, Google's paying for it, or OpenAI is paying for the one at Stargate. So it really is helpful to state. But there are too many misconceptions about this. This is good for the state. It's good for the tax base. For instance, if you look at in Abilene, their tax base is exploding, and people are, well, you gave big incentives to them to come and invest, and the county judge up there said, yeah, but 1% of however tens of billions of dollars in new tax base, if we gave away 90% through a tax abatement, that 10% that's left is huge. I mean, it gives them more resources than they've ever had before. That's for the schools, for the county, for roads, bridges, public service. It's pretty amazing.
It's pretty exciting,
Yeah,
too.
we got a lot of those that are being looked at around here too.
Okay, well, I want to hear more about that. We need to take a break, though.
Okay.
So stay with us. There is more of the show ahead, and we'll be back with Bill Flores.
Serving Central Texas since 1889, TFNB Your Bank for Life takes pride in being more than a bank. TFNB, we remain committed to these principles. If you value them too, come join us. TFNB, your bank for life.
Ready for a better kind of primary care?
At Patient First Direct Primary Care, you get unlimited office visits with same day or next day availability.
And instead of rushed appointments, we take the time to actually listen.
There are no insurance hassles, just clear, simple care.
You can reach us by phone or text because access shouldn't be complicated. Our practice has expanded to include Medicare-age patients as part of our direct primary care model.
It's a fresh alternative to the traditional insurance or government-driven systems, care that finally puts you first.
For more information, go to patientfirstdirect.com.
Great products start with quality materials and trusted service. And no one's more committed than Universal Windows Direct of Central Texas. With windows built to last, backed by the best lifetime warranty. 0% financing is available with your good credit. Call Universal Windows Direct of Central Texas today for the last windows you'll ever need.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
For over 2 decades, I've come to Allen Samuels shop, especially for trucks, because I've been very satisfied with the performance of those trucks. I think the strengths of Allen Samuels is obviously in their customer service and obviously taking care of your vehicle after the sale.
Like Allen Samuels always said, Waco has a lot to offer, and so do we at Allen Samuels Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
And we're back with Bill Flores, who is past District 17 congressman from Central Texas. And, well, it's got a big swath, really, was that District 17. But now with ERCOT, with your role with this power reliability people, we just want to know that we've got lights when we when we want them. So how do you go about with transparency and what your board does and communicating with the people of Texas? And when we're talking about the data centers, there's really a lot of misconceptions about.
There are a lot of misconceptions. And I think that, well, first of all, I need to clarify the difference between what a board does and what the management of ERCOT does.
Okay.
It's the same as with any company. The board provides strategic oversight and guidance. Management executes the day-to-day activities with the oversight of the board. So I don't tell the CEO, Pablo Vegas of ERCOT, which switches to turn or anything like
Sure,
that.
right,
My
right,
goal
right.
is to provide strategic guidance and oversight. And so the management team of ERCOT, it does several things. One is it manages grid on a day-to-day basis. It ensures open access to transmission. It facilitates a wholesale market for the state, a retail market for the state, and then it provides these reports, these projections, so that people can look at the state and say, okay, what does the power situation look like in the future? So if you're a prospective business, you know what the power availability is like. If you're an investor in generation, you know whether or not you think you can get a return on your capital that you're going to invest. So that's what we try to do, is make sure, and it's all transparent and open. Our meetings are open to the public. We have 5 board meetings a year, and they last about 2 days at a time. And we talk about everything from transmission to new technologies that we can use to better manage the grid. For instance, one of the new tools that we just rolled out that just became effective in December is called RTC plus B, real-time co-optimization plus batteries, because batteries have made a huge difference in the way the grid is operated in Texas and the capacity that we have. If you think about it, Texas is #1 in wind, #1 in solar, number one in battery storage generation. We have an eclipse every night when we lose all that solar, and something's got to fill in because it takes a while for the wind to come up because the wind cycles are different than the way the sun is, of course. And then you've got to have your natural gas plants getting ready. You've got to make sure your nukes are online, and the little bit of coal that we have, you got to make sure that they're online as well. So all that, you think about, there's thousands of different pieces that have to all fit together on a second by second basis.
You mentioned nuclear power. I mean, it takes years to build a new facility, though.
Unfortunately.
Is there a need for one?
Absolutely. If you think
Yeah.
about what is it, I mean, if you think about the ultimate zero emissions power source that's always on, or what I call dispatchable. Dispatchable means it's got an on-off switch. Wind and solar are not dispatchable. You're depending on nature to provide that power. But nuclear is the ultimate zero emissions dispatchable power source, and we need tons of it. And Texas would be a great place to invest in it. The challenge we have is the Nuclear Regulatory Commission is still stuck back in the 60s. And we've got new types of nuclear generation, even big scale generation like Westinghouse AP1000 facilities, which are inherently safer than the old types of pressure water reactors that were built in the state and in the country. We've got small modular reactors which have new heat transfer media that are totally different than what we had before, and we ought to be leading and getting those things built as soon as we can. The Chinese and even the Poles are building more than we are.
Well, are there some being proposed? I mean, are we that far along in?
Not really.
Not really.
Well, there are 5 proposed. Rick Perry has started a company called Fermi. He and some colleagues have started a company called Fermi. They're going to build a massive new data center generation complex out in the Panhandle near Amarillo, near the Pantex plant. And they're proposing 4 or 5 mega scale nuclear power plants up there, AP1000 class generation systems. The challenge is the Nuclear Regulatory Commission doesn't recognize the inherent safety of new types of nuclear generation that's so much different. And so they're still stuck back in the 60s. President Trump signed an executive order to basically move a lot of the licensing process out of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, move it over in the Department of Energy, which can move faster.
Seems like that's a logical thing.
Governor Abbott and the state legislature also Governor Abbott about 2 years ago set up a nuclear task force to look at trying to find ways to make Texas a leader in nuclear for everything except for what the federal government does. The federal government's in charge of licensing in terms of waste, in terms of fuel. They're in charge of those 3 things. But the state looked at everything else, like where's the land, workforce development, water, all the manufacturing facilities that we need to be a leader, particularly in next-gen nukes and nuclear. And the legislature put together a nuclear fund in the last legislature to help make Texas a leader there. And some of that money has already been invested, appropriated and invested. I think Texas can do it. We just need the NRC to come into the 21st century. I'll give you a great example. When I was in Congress, we passed the Nuclear Regulatory Modernization Act, and it did several things. But for one thing, it said, okay, write a new section of the nuclear code that recognizes the difference in safety of the new technology nuclear, and write a licensing section for that. And what they did is they wrote a new section, a new chapter, but they left all the other chapters in place for the new nuclear. So basically, we're stuck. You can't move forward.
Yeah, it didn't help. Yeah,
it didn't help. And I look at one of the things that these new generations of nuclear plants need. They need a different kind of fuel. So if you buy a high performance Corvette, you've got to have a high octane fuel for it. Sometimes, that's not available. So who's going to build a next-gen nuclear plant if you don't know if you're going to have the gas for it or the fuel for it or not? Same thing. Who's going to invest in the fuel facilities if you don't know you're going to have the ability to build
a plant?
To build the plant.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's a chicken. It's a classic
it's a
chicken
real
and egg.
runaround thing,
So I wrote a section in one of the energy acts when I was there to have set up public-private partnerships for next-gen nuclear fuel. Is called HALEU, high assay low enriched uranium. And it took about 6 years from when that law was signed for anything to happen. But Trump is shaking things up in that area. He's pro-nuke.
Oh, he certainly realizes there's a need for power because of AI. ERCOT oversees both retail and wholesale electric markets. Why is it important to maintain open, non-discriminatory process in the transmission grid?
If you think about it, you want to think about what could happen if we didn't have open access to transmission in the state. You could go build a plant next to a transmission line, and then the transmission company could hold you up, could extort money from you in order to interconnect with the transmission. So we ensure open access to transmission, and so if you come build something here, you're going to be able to connect, providing that we do the stability study. You got to look at the physics, of course, to make sure the physics work. But once you do that, you get to hook up.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the economy. I mean, I know that was a big area for you, certainly as a congressman, maintaining. Just your thoughts on where we are and where the state's heading?
Well, in Texas, we're blessed. I give a lot of speeches and I always talk about, with respect to the grid, we are blessed in Texas, blessed to be in Texas because it's a fast growing state. It's dynamic. We've got a great workforce. We've got a can-do attitude. You've got a governor and a legislature that sort of get it when it comes to having the right balance of the regulatory and statutory structure. We're also challenged in Texas because we're a fast-growing, dynamic state.
Yeah,
everybody wants to come here, so it's kind of two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
So in Texas, I think we're in good shape. I mean, things seem to be moving in the right direction from an economic standpoint. Nationwide, the story is a little more mixed. I mean, California is just having a meltdown. If you look at what they did for instance, to the gasoline supply. I mean, they passed some laws in their lack of an understanding about economics that have caused 3 refineries to close. They're losing 20% of the refining capacity, and so gasoline. And then they had one drop-off line because of some hiccup, and so gas prices briefly went over $10 a gallon, and now they're $7, $8, $9.
And we're seeing $2.
Yeah, and they're going to have to actually import gasoline from Asia. And so, the folks in Nevada and Arizona are pretty stirred up about that too, because a lot of the gasoline for those states came from California refineries, and now those are offline. So anyway, it's a mess. I just say that to say it's more mixed. I think if you looked at the macro perspective of the United States economy, it's pretty decent. I mean, we've got 4.4% unemployment, that's almost considered full employment. Everybody wants a job, can get a job. Inflation's come down at 2.7% for the last 12 months. You have real wages rising. But for some reason, so I say that, that's the empirical evidence of what the economy's like. But people don't feel good about it right now.
Right.
And I'm not really sure why. There's just this unease. And I think some of the unease is, are the tariffs on? Are they off? Are we going to, where do we stand? Are we going to tariff all the Europeans because they don't want to let the United States annex Greenland or whatever? And so I think you've got the empirical evidence says things are in pretty good shape over the country as a whole, but people don't feel good. And so I think that's one of the challenges that President Trump's going to have to deal with as we get close to the midterm elections, is how does he help Americans feel confident that the economy is really as strong as the numbers say that it is?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about not missing the campaigning. These midterms really are going to be crucial, I
They're
think,
very
for the
important.
administration.
Yes, they are.
And classically, they don't hold. They don't hold on to power.
No, no, they don't. The
So,
party in power, the party in the White House usually loses seats in the midterms.
yeah.
And I remember, President Trump was elected in 2016 the first time, and the 2018 midterms. I'm a Republican, of course, we kind of got our rears kicked. And most of that was self-inflicted on us in the legislature because we didn't fully enact everything we said we'd do. There's a group in Congress called the Freedom Caucus that they were embracing Trump like this, but then they were stabbing his agenda in the back. And so we didn't get a lot of things done. And as a consequence, we told Americans we're going to do certain things, and we didn't do all the things. We got tax reform done. We got a lot of regulatory reform done. Those were both great for the economy then, but we didn't get health care done, didn't solve immigration or the border or any of those things. And that was largely due to the Freedom Caucus that really fouled that up. I mean, for some reason, as Republicans, we all tend to like to fight each other. I don't know why. I used to hate that. There are some of my colleagues that felt like the best way to win a football game was to tackle your own quarterback behind the line of scrimmage. I never could get my arms around that. Anyway, where I'm going with this is, in 2018 we lost, and so the gavels for all the committees and for the Speaker of the House went to the Democrats. And what did they do? They started investigating Trump, impeaching Trump. It was all that stuff. And, irrespective of what your opinion may be, sorry about that. You have to edit that out. So, irrespective of what you may think about President Trump, he doesn't respond well to criticism or pressure. And so as the Democrats in the House were going after him with all the impeachments and investigations, his public responses were let's say inflammatory.
Pointed.
It pointed. So
Yeah.
it didn't help him.
That didn't
So
help
when you
him.
get to 2020 and the combination of him being under constant bombardment by the media, by the Democrats in Congress, and then you had COVID hit, so it just didn't set him up to do well in 2020. In this case, I think if the Republican Congress can get their arms around health care, come up with a health care solution, the border situation, immigration, they're under a lot better control than they were before. It would be nice to have immigration reform so we have more certainty in the way that process works. If the Republicans in Congress could get together just for a few minutes and get those things done, I think they'd be in a lot better shape for the midterms.
Yeah. Any phone calls you can make to kind of
I can call Mike Johnson and say,
See what-
poor Mike. I mean, he's doing a great job as Speaker, but he's got an unruly mess
That's
to
a
work
hard.
with.
That's a hard.
It's
job.
a hard job.
Hard job. I think. I guess what surprised me the most is how the Democratic Party has embraced socialism in such a radical way.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, isn't it?
I mean, we were always kind of taught this was not a good system.
Well,
Communism and socialism are bad.
and empirically it doesn't work. I mean,
No,
all you have
right.
to do is look at history, and they've kind of rebranded themselves. They call it democratic socialism or socialism. Socialist Democrat. I don't remember what they call it, but anyway, they sort of tried to rebrand it and make it look pretty. But all you have to do is look at history. Look at Cuba. Look at Venezuela. Venezuela used to have one of the highest GDPs per capita in the entire world.
Yeah, 20 years
and then,
of communist rule.
then they
and
became a banana
they're eating
republic.
dogs.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
that's
terrible.
just what history teaches us.
Yeah, and Cuba,
Yeah.
Cuba's never really been able to get out of the swamp. So hopefully, but I don't know. I think one of the challenges that we have, particularly with young people today, is they've never really had it very tough. And
Yeah.
if you'd ever had a chance to travel to East Berlin or to go to Cuba or something like that, think maybe this ain't so cool.
Yeah, yeah. Well, just your closing thoughts. We need to wrap this up, but Texas is continuing to grow.
Mhm.
That's good. Things seem pretty rosy
Mhm.
for us right now. Anything you want us to understand about what you do with ERCOT and what we need to know.
Well, sure. I think the closing thoughts I'd like everybody to keep in mind are that ERCOT is dedicated to being able to solve this huge challenge we have in Texas with all this growth, the increase in demand, the increase in business activity, the increase in population, but to maintain reliability and reasonable prices. And I think it's done a pretty good job of it. We are committed to continue doing that. I mean, Texas has had a couple of grid hiccups in 2011 and then again in 2021. But the state has learned a lot, and the legislature's learned a lot, the governor's learned a lot, and I think everybody's pulling together to keep us on track.
Well, we appreciate your willingness to serve in this capacity. I mean, you could have just said, okay, I'm retired from public service and going to do my business and enjoy my family, and which you have. You did say you want to spend more time with kids and grandkids, so that has happened?
It has happened. Not as much time with the grandkids because they're scattered over in Georgia, which makes it a little tough. When the day after I decided that Gina and I decided that we were going to run again, I got up the next morning and said, I got to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life because I'm just not going to sit around and drink coffee all day.
Heavens no.
And so I came up with what I call Bill 3.0. And so that has more time with family, some paid board gigs to be able to take my business expertise, my public policy expertise, and use that to help companies. And I'm on several boards now that pay me for my governance capabilities. Some not-for-profit activities, and then fun. I love to snow ski and love to fly. And now Gina's not letting me buy a plane yet, but I'm working on that. And then I added a fifth element a couple of years ago, and that was to lose some weight and get in shape.
Oh, you look fabulous.
Well, thanks. So I got a little bit more to go. I'm about 2/3 toward my target. But anyway, so Bill 3.0, where I'm going to go with Bill 3.0 is this is the best job I've ever had.
Yeah.
I read an article in the Wall Street Journal a couple of days ago about retirement and the biggest transition people have as they go from a career to retirement is they feel like they don't matter, that nobody needs them or wants them anymore.
Kind of become invisible.
Right. And I think that's what I was doing when I designed my next career, Bill 3.0. The next chapter of my life is to try to make a difference, to try to stay involved and to stay active. So I keep my brain working. I mean, you think about managing the third largest grid in the country or being part of the governance body for the third largest grid in the country. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm a geek. I love physics and love electricity, and so it gives me a chance to stretch my brain. So I'm perpetually learning.
Well, I've been delighted that we've been able to spend this time together for us to learn from you in this high-powered position. And so appreciate
there is a lot of voltage behind it.
A lot of voltage behind that. Appreciate you so much, Bill Flores, for all you've done for us, your service to the nation, certainly to this part of Texas.
And thanks for inviting me.
Good.
It's great to be back in Waco today.
Oh yeah, it's always
I
good
love
to
being
see
up in
you.
this tall building too.
I know, and you say it's the first time up here.
It is
I
first time.
love that.
You know, we were supposed to. You remember there was a non-for-profit organization here in Waco that had these fundraising activities where you'd rappel off of buildings. I think Bruce Geetzum was part of that.
He did, yeah, at the McLean Stadium.
Yeah, and that was because of me.
That's right.
Because he called and invited me to do it, and then I found out he wasn't going to do it, and I shamed him. So I got on TV to do an interview, and I said, by the way, if you think Bruce Geetzum ought to rappel off McLean Stadium with me,
right,
then call him up. And sure enough, he came out there the same day and rappelled down.
He had to do it. He did it.
Anyway, where I was going with this, the next year, the rappelling event was off of this. Rappelling is where you had your feet against the surface.
Yeah, and we're kind of bouncing.
Yeah, but over at McLean, you just jumped off the side and you were hanging out in the middle of space. And it was a little
I can't imagine.
disconcerting to me.
No.
Yeah. But anyway, so
hard no from me on that.
So that was my first chance to be in an Alico building, and I missed it.
And you missed it.
I finally made it.
It's much better from inside the building,
Yeah,
looking
true,
out for
true.
sure. Bill, thank you so
You
much.
bet.
Thank you.
This is a Rogue Media Network production.